Right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, our dear SwissBorgers and app users. Today we have some very exciting news with regards to a very innovative concept in DeFi lending. And I'm so happy to tell you guys that we actually have brotherhood. There's a proper bromance here in this virtual room. So without further ado, maybe we can do some quick introductions from the staking reward side and the Looping Collective. Mirko and Jannik, if you'd like to take the floor.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having us on the show. Also great to see other brother as founders. So this is awesome. We started Stake Awards together, Jannik and me, in I think 5 or 6 years ago. It's feels like ages, decades already in crypto, if you believe how fast the space moves. But yeah, since then we've come a long way, and super excited to integrate with SwissBorg as well, our new product for Hyperliquid. So yeah, super excited to dive into there.
Super excited to have you, Mirko. Jannik, I'll let you take the floor.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for having me. And as Mirko said, the brothers in the room. That's great. So came a long way, and certainly as brothers it's a kind of special way to interact and basically have a company. And I'm super excited to also hear how you managed to do that, and super stoked to work together.
Likewise, Jannik, likewise. And of course, my brother, Cyrus Fazel, co-founder and CEO of SwissBorg.
Yeah, excited to be here, guys, and making sure that, brotherhood for crypto bros is on the high. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'd love to ask you guys, Mirko and Jannik, the first question is, you guys were amongst the very first to actually track DeFi yields across multiple chains, multiple protocols, multiple dApps. I would love to hear from you guys why you wanted to dig so deep into DeFi yields at such an early stage as well, before we actually had the DeFi summer, right, with Bubble, where we had crazy APY percentages. But what was driving you guys to start with these data sets?
Yeah, so maybe I can take this one. What has started us? Back in the days, Mirko said it feels like decades ago. Mirko basically approached me and said, "Hey, I have so many staking tokens, and I don't know what a staking actually is, and I don't know how to utilize those tokens." And then we basically started to dig into that before anybody else. Aggregated some data around it, and actually figured out what can you do with all those tokens, and then started with a very simple spreadsheet and put it on a website free for everyone to use. But it was basically just a need, because nobody knew about how you can utilize tokens.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing was really you really wanted to grasp the attention of all the players, do the best fundamental research, then to be able to deploy your own strategies. Was that the way you guys thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, there were so many opportunities already, even before all the proof of stake chains launched and before DeFi summer and so on. But it's really hard to find information on it. Back in the days, there was just, I think, CoinMarketCap. You could check the prices, and CoinMarketCap looked like a ultra bare bones website, with just price and market cap information, which was mostly wrong, actually. So
still is wrong.
Still is, yeah. Or you have to pay a lot of money to get it somehow updated or something like that. But yeah, finding good, reliable information, and especially on yields, which is another niche in a niche in crypto, right? Most people just look at the prices, but then if you look at what kind of yields you can generate on crypto, that's a whole other universe, basically, that opens up. And it's really hard to understand what's going on. What are the risks? What are the rewards, and so on? And we just wanted to create a platform for people to make sense of what's going on, and what are the best ways to generate yield in crypto.
And don't forget that, not even CoinGecko was around. The block explorers, they were really bad. You had a really hard time, really look into barebone blockchain data in general. So it was a whole different universe back then. So yeah, digging into that and publicizing those data, like making it making it accessible for the user to actually understand how does it actually work, like what can I generate on top of my assets. I think this was really much needed.
That's key information. If I may ask, and please talk to me if I were a 5-year-old kid. You talked about, Mirko, risk rewards, and I think there are different levels of earning yields across the crypto sphere. And unfortunately, Sai, as you know, we have roughly, depending on the actual asset at SwissBorg, but only 20 to 40% of our users actually use yields, which is a pity, right? Because there's so much to do, and it's such a critical part of investing and growing our wealth. Can you guys bring us back to the bare bones and explain what risk reward means to you?
Yeah, I mean, this is like a full spectrum in crypto. I think most of the times it's just not well understood because it's a very novel concept, how yields are generated in crypto, even though the risks are like very foreseeable and very transparent because everything is on chain, which kind of eliminates the risk of like counterparty risk and all of this part. Like you can check things like what's going on like on chain, and that makes things actually like less risky and more trustworthy because you can verify all the actions on chain, so to say. So that's like I think this is where crypto is still mostly misunderstood. It feels like extremely risky, but if you know like the right opportunities, then there's like there's a lot of great things that you can do on chain to like generate yield in a very kind of risk minimized environment. And that's also what we are trying to do with the product where we are working together with SwissBorg now, is basically creating a structured product that takes like the lowest risk DeFi strategies and bundles them together in one single product that can create higher APY for users while minimizing the risk, so to say.
And I mean, on top of that, Mirko said everything is on chain. You can look into every protocol's mechanics. But in crypto, I think there is like information overload. There are so many different opportunities, and it's really hard to basically understand what are the good projects and what are the bad projects, because there are certainly like a lot of bad players. And I think this is like really important for us as well to give you like a curated product that basically says we take the best of the best to actually give something that is high yield, but also like really secure and low in risk. So the user is not overwhelmed by like all the different DeFi protocols, but like really something here. This is something we can strongly recommend.
Awesome. Cyrus, are you proud to have been giving the community actual on-chain DeFi and transparent yields? And what does that mean to you as the SwissBorg CEO?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that we would not be alive if we're not doing it. Look at other German friends or Americans or whatever, they all went bankrupt, right? Because if you don't know where the yield is coming from, you're the yield. So there's only one which is on chain. All the rest is there's a high chance of default. That's the truth. It's actually a funny discussion I've had recently is that, market makers give some good yields, right? Because they do market making and they do have different other strategies. And this is the one I always am trying, like people are trying to push because, with BTC you could get maybe 3 to 5% there, which is very juicy. But it's still one that I have a hard time to distribute, because at the end it's just, like giving your money to a bank at the end. It's like, they could do a lot of great things, or they could mess up something and due to liquidity get fucked and do a Genesis Capital or whatever, FTX, even worse, or a Celsius or whatever you want.
Yeah, because it's not deterministic, right? It's a trading product eventually, and it's like it can go really well, but it also can go quite bad. So
one is enforced by code and the other one is forced by text, right? So that's
exactly.
And we're in for the code, we're not in for the text. So I think so. That's exactly, Jannik.
How do you guys feel about this? So this is actually a table that my brother and I. Do you remember Sai took in 2049?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
When you presented this,
it's gonna blow up, yeah.
Yeah. So here, guys, this is something that we did with my brother back in the days. And by the way, so I don't want to toot our own horn too much, like Mirko and Jannik, but we were the first yield platform to actually disclose all the risks within the app and have a scoring mechanism for people to understand the type of risk, while others, they wouldn't explain where the yield would come from, number one, so it wouldn't be transparent, and they wouldn't talk about the risks. So we always had these reports on a monthly basis. And then we talked about staking as being probably the lowest in terms of risk, single coin lending. Then obviously AMMs, maybe we start with the most conservative when you have two synthetics, like maybe two USDT tokens that have more or less the same volatility. Of course, there's always synthetic or depeg risk, the AMMs, and then yield farming when you're going through multiple strategies. Does this kind of table still hold today, do you guys think? Is it still a fair assessment? Of course, there's subtleties to all of this and nuances, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think this is such a great overview because it also shows exactly like what is our thesis for the product that we launched. It's basically that like vanilla staking and lending are like the most least risk of all the DeFi strategies, so to say. But there's still like a lot of differences even between those two. And that's why the concept of looping is so interesting right now. And it's also like, generating more and more interest everywhere. It's basically just arbitraging the staking and the lending in itself. So it 100% makes sense, because everything else, it's also not something that I would recommend anyone in crypto if you're not an absolute expert, really. Like doing the AMM, like if you try to get into like just calculating the impermanent loss is insane. Like you can't really do it. You don't really understand what you're actually losing on. And then also like how the position changes, how you add concentrated liquidity and so on. Like there's so much nuances to it. That's really not a product that I would recommend anyone to just park money and let it be, because everything that's like above lending, I would say, requires like really active management of DeFi positions and very in-depth knowledge. And obviously you can generate higher returns, but it's not only more risky, it also requires way much more work. And like our focus has been,
And I think, go your focus, please go ahead, Mirko. Sorry.
I just want to say our focus has been mostly actually on these things where you can, or like we always position Segmod as like a way, okay, find the best ways to earn passive income or earn a yield on crypto. But once you go beyond staking and lending, then it's not just like earning yield anymore and earning a passive income. It's more like actually like doing very hard work to like generate those yields. You cannot call that a passive income anymore.
So that's the perfect timing for us to actually look at the looping strategy that you guys have, which it seems to be very, very innovative. If we can talk about what is looping, how do you guys do it on a basic level, of course, that would be very, very good for our users out there to understand the strategy, which, by the way, caught the attention of the SwissBorg DeFi team. They're very interested in what you guys are doing with this Looping Collective.
In general, it's like basically looping means that you stake tokens and you lend them, and then you arbitrage between like the different the staking APY and how much you can borrow the token in a lending market. Like Aave, for example, is one of the biggest lending markets. So if you can generate a let's take Hyperliquid as an example. You can generate 2.2% APY for staking, which is kind of the risk-free rate of crypto staking. It's very comparable to like a bond, so to say. Very, very little risk. And then you can also lend it. You give it to Aave, and then you can borrow tokens again. And if that borrow rate is lower than the staking APY, let's say it's 1%, then you can borrow the token for 1% and stake it for 2.2%, where you can then earn like a delta of 1.2%. And if you do that a couple of times, you can actually increase the returns of staking just by arbitraging the staking position with lending markets. And that's like, it's relatively complex and also takes time to do that manually. And that's why we developed a product that does that on an automatic basis. It tracks like the borrow rates on different lending markets, the staking rates on different liquid staking protocols, and then automatically like basically arbitrages these positions to earn a higher yield, while only exposing the user to like staking and lending only. But through this automated process, it's basically possible to generate a higher APY without taking like much higher risk. Yeah.
That is so cool. That is very, very cool. Okay, so just to summarize it for everyone watching, so you have staking first, then there's lending, and then based on the arbitrage that you see on different pairs, then you guys can get a little bit of extra percentage there.
Exactly. Yeah. So we would stake the token, then deposit the staking token on a lending market, borrow against this stake position again, like a HYPE token, which we can then stake again. So it always like for each loop that you do, you earn like 1% extra, for example.
That is very, very exciting. Sai, how do you feel about having a dual airdrop as well? So people stake obviously HYPE token, they'll get the in token plus, you know, an extra bonus in airdrops. I don't think we've ever had a dual, you know, reward yield strategy before, have we?
I mean, we had multiple. It's just that we never gave them back. We always sold them against USDC or Ethereum or Bitcoin. But back in the days, if you would do anything with Pancake Swap or whatever, we would receive a lot of those native tokens, any protocol. So we would just sell the cake, which was really a bad mistake when you think about it, because we had a huge supply of cake. But we had a lot of shitty tokens that went to zero too. So, but I think so here, yeah, it is a great way, a good play, and that is what, yeah. I mean, we done a lot of that actually. Like when you think about it, we did that as with Morpho, with you then. But very happy to see this again. And usually these are the sweeteners that enable at the end to compound a massive APY, and even more to build communities that as well are interested in the future of the protocols.
If I may ask you guys, like Mirko, Jannik, like obviously it's very hard to project what the API would be because there's so many moving parts to it, right? FDV and all these things. But do you guys have rough models on what you think the potential API could be, including the airdrops? Or
yeah, so I mean, this is all like estimates. Like the actual APY is like it's going to be always above the staking APY. So there's a base APY that's higher than staking, which is in itself already great. It's kind of the best risk-adjusted yield you get on HYPE. And on top of that, like you explained, we have the loop token, the Looping Collective, which is basically the flywheel for all our looping products, including loopedHYPE. And we have a very novel system actually with like TVL milestone-based vesting. So as the protocol grows, there will be a large portion of the entire token supply distributed to everyone who contributes to the growth, including all the users, and then also including SwissBorg, because we work together. And then there will be on the SwissBorg platform also extra returns for everyone who goes through SwissBorg directly. So there's even incentives to do it directly on SwissBorg, which is a great way to enhance the rewards even more. And then coming back to your question, in terms of API estimations, we have some estimations that are around 15%, which is very reasonable based on like the current loop token FDV. You would earn around 5% extra for like just the accrued loop. That kind of depends on how fast we hit these protocol TVL milestones, because for each TVL milestone, there will be a portion of the supply distributed. And the quicker we hit the TVL milestones, the higher will be the APY compared to the time basis. And if it takes longer, it will be a bit lower and so on. And then on top of that are like airdrops from underlying protocols. Like the Hyper EVM right now is like, it feels like a treasure trove. It's like, it's insane what's going on there in terms of how much like points you get from different protocols, like all the airdrops happening and so on. And like Hyperliquid has been leading the charge here by distributing, what was it, like 35% of the entire token supply in a huge airdrop. Like I think that was like the biggest airdrop ever happened in the history of crypto for Hyperliquid. Like if you look at the HYPE price now, I think this airdrop is worth like a couple of $1 billion. It's absolutely insane. And a lot of projects are following suit and like doing a similar approach to airdropping like most of their supply to the actual users, to the actual people, like democratizing ownership of these like open source protocols, which is fantastic. So as loopedHYPE is using a lot of these staking, like lending protocols and staking protocols, it's also accruing points and potential airdrop in these protocols, which we made a promise that for everyone who deposits into loopedHYPE, we give back 100% of these rewards back to the users. So there's like Hyperland, which is the official Aave instance on HyperEVM, HyperFi, Felix protocol, which is the Morpho instance on HyperEVM, and so on. And they all like have a point system. They're all going to have that governance token. And all of this together will be around like another 7% APY based on our estimations currently. Obviously, this all depends on like what's the actual FTV at launch when they have their airdrop. But yeah, these are like kind of the different extra rewards on top, basically. And the last point, just making it quick, is basically we have a 10% performance fee on loopedHYPE, which we use to buy back loop token on the market. So it creates constant sell pressure on the loop token. And these loop are then also redistributed back to the most loyal users of the protocol. So it kind of rewards loyalty and distributes loop tokens back from people who are just like tourists in LHYPE and stake for a short time back to the people who actually stake long time and are committed to holding the position for several months, basically.
That's fantastic. So rather than the 2.27% that people earn on their hype tokens now, we can estimate double digits here, being quite conservative, right? And obviously there are many moving parts. We can never guarantee this APY percentage, but it's definitely more enticing, right, than the current offerings we have for staking hype tokens. That's great. And I must ask you guys, because I was walking by your booth at the staking summit in Dubai, and I saw looped BTC, looped ETH, looped SOL. And obviously you guys want to start with hype token, which I fully understand why. There are many advantages to doing that, especially right now. But are you planning on having different loop tokens for the SwissBorg community that we can offer at a future date? And what are your future roadmap milestones looking like?
100%. Yeah, so it's like the Looping Collective is designed to be a flywheel across different protocols. So yeah, like starting with the Hyperliquid ecosystem, which is super hot right now, but this is not where we stop. So many different and new primitives coming up. So yeah, obviously looking into the blue chip ones, BTC and ETH, but yeah, also looking at obviously new protocols launching. So yeah, there will be a loop token, hopefully for all the major protocols in the future.
How do you feel, Sai? Are you excited?
100%. I think that's it's a great way to be able to offer again high yields, manage in a great way, and SwissBorg has always been a pioneer on this, and very excited to see the next partnership with Staking Rewards, and make it great.
And I must say, guys, it's always a pleasure to be working with neighbors, right? Most of our colleagues are in Switzerland. You guys are German, right? And by the way, Cyrus and I, we actually have Swiss-German genes as well. So it's very nice to be working with fellows, within the same region, I must say.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's like there's not so many companies like in Europe, right? So it's always great to see like hardworking people here that are pushing forward the innovation and making crypto investing more accessible, right? So I think you've done a fantastic job kind of creating a platform. Like you've already been around for a very long time as well, and probably build a very loyal user base, because it's just so simple to use the platform and then access like these more innovative, like novel on-chain products, and then have like very clear risk assessment and so on. So this is quite fascinating to see actually like the positioning of SwissBorg on the market as well.
Thank you so much, guys. And we're super, super excited. Just a big shout out to the SwissBorg community. You will have more information. A blog is being written. You'll get in-app notifications. You'll get an email. So don't worry about all the specifics. We just wanted to do this call specifically to show you guys, like Jannik and Mirko, show amazing brothers from, once again, neighbors of ours, and connect, all four together and do a lot of exciting stuff moving forward. Cy, any last final thoughts?
Yeah, let's bring back the yield in the best way possible, and make great returns or sustainable returns.
Let's do it, guys. Yeah, excited for all the upcoming products as well. We should probably have a look what actually is like which tokens have the highest demand on SwissBorg side and so on. So this probably won't be the last product where we work together. So super excited for this.
BTC,
Fantastic.
I'm sure.
BTC would be amazing, guys. We have a lot of BTC sitting idle. So if you want to capture some TVL, we definitely want to help you guys reach your goals as well. But just for those watching out there and who are not staking yet, please really understand the concept of yields and why it's so important. Within the world of stocks, we have dividends. Within the world of crypto, we have yields. And it's very important to understand that these yields not only compound, but also if the asset, the underlying asset, goes up in price, the real yield is actually different from the yield that you may see. So for example, if you've been yielding SOL with SwissBorg, roughly around the 7% mark, and SOL goes up like recently to $200, the yield that you have been receiving not only is compounding, meaning that each time you get more yield, you're getting an APY percentage based on a new number, a higher number, so that compounds, but also the real yield, if the underlying asset goes up in price, you're going to generate even more APY percentage, right, Jannik, Mirko? Don't you guys feel like that's my last thing to ask you, but people really need to understand the concept of real yields and not just APY percentage, or any thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's incredible actually, because especially also the rewards that you generate, they also increase in price, right? So it's not just the principal that you stake that increases in price, but also the rewards. So it really compounds over time. And we actually have on stakingwalls.com, we built a staking calculator, which has been one of the most used tools on our website to kind of make this a little bit easier of understanding the power of compounding. And over time, this is it's a huge difference. It's absolutely insane, especially if you factor in, like you said, the price appreciation as well. And then it's all about staking the right token. This is also why we decided to build on Hyperliquid. I think Hype and Hyperliquid is probably the biggest opportunity since Ethereum. It's absolutely insane in terms of adoption and traction. What this team and this project is doing right now. It's really challenging all the big Binance and Coinbase and so on, and do that in in a way that everyone can integrate with them. Phantom Wallet, one of the biggest Solana wallets, just integrated Hyperliquid perps into their wallet and so on. These things show organic traction. So I think Hype is a great token to invest in itself. That's why we decided to build a product for it. And then if you invest in the right product and stake it and compound the yield, where the yield compounds as well, this is it's a no-brainer to multiply the investment basically.
Especially if we're in an alt season, as we believe we may be entering one, right? So there's even more potential. But yeah, thank you so much for clarifying that, guys. I just wanted to send that out just for people to at least, consider staking or one of these strategies.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks so much, Jannik, Mirko. It's great having you guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks very much.